CE Project 1 Topic Presentation. I am Donita Inocencio from BSCE4C, and my first topic is Influence of HDPE and LDPE on the strength of bitumen pavement and its behavior under different temperature. LDPE or low density polyethylene is a soft, flexible, lightweight plastic material. LDPE is noted for its low temperature flexibility, toughness, and corrosion resistance. It is not suited for applications where stiffness, high temperature resistance, and structural strength are required. HDPE is more rigid and durable and is better at chemical resistance. It has a higher melting point and can withstand more brutal temperature than LDPE. So to answer the questions, number one, if you were to perform this research, what would you do differently? There are a lot of existing studies about using recycled plastics as alternative or mixture in making building materials. In addition to this, there are existing studies about mixing melted LDPE on bitumen when making asphalt road, but we know that plastics melts in high temperature conditions and deform when subjected to heavy loads. That's why in my study, I want to mix HDPE and LDPE on bitumen and test if there will be an increase in the strength of the road. And if there is, the researcher wants to know the percentage of HDPE and LDPE in which the road will be more durable at the same time do not deform easily under high temperature. Number two, what are the main issues in this subject area? There are two main issues in the subject area. The first one is to reduce plastic waste in our environment, and another one is to find ways to make low-cost and more durable asphalt road. And number three, are there local literatures on this topic? There are two local literatures in this topic. The number one is a study on the influence of LDPE on properties of bitumen pavement under submergence condition, and another one is the effect of high-density polyethylene HDPE and low-density polyethylene LDPE on characteristics of asphalt concrete with dry and wet mixing process. And to answer the three consecutive questions, what are the significance of the study? What is your motivation for this study? And why did you choose this topic? According to the World Bank, 2.7 million tons of plastic waste are generated in the Philippines each year, and an estimated 20% ends up in the ocean. Until now, our country's problem is in plastic waste has no concrete solution. That's why we need an evolutionary solution that will help reduce these tons of plastic rapidly. And I believe using plastic waste in the asphalt road construction will help reduce our problem in waste. Research has indicated that the addition of polymers to asphalt binders helps to increase in the bond between the aggregate and the binder, which can enhance many properties of the asphalt pavements. Number 7, do you have a title on your study? What do you mean by such title? The title of the study is The Influence of HDPE and LDPE on the Strength of Bitumen Pavement and its Behavior Under High Temperature. The researcher aims to test different ratios of HDPE and LDPE, bitumen, sand, and gravel, which will surpass the durability of a common road. Also, after the best ratio was found, the study wants to know its behavior in different temperatures. Overall, the study aims to find the best ratio of materials mentioned, which will be durable enough and can resist loads under high temperature. And lastly, what method or strategy you will use in this study? This study will use different samples with different ratios of HDPE and LDPE. Various percentage of LDPE and HDPE, like for example, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, will be mixed with bitumen and will be subjected to Marshall test. Also, the researcher will study various engineering properties and compare samples with and without LDPE and HDPE content. Mainly, this study will focus on the effect of LDPE and HDPE waste on the Marshall stability and loss in stability by using retained Marshall stability theory. Next, from two existing research or studies you have, which of them are related to your topic? What methodological approach and the research or studies have developed to achieve its specific objective. So, from two existing research or studies I chose the study on influence of LDPE on properties of bitumen pavement under submergence conditions. The study also utilized Marshall stability test. The test is conducted on compacted cylindrical specimens on bituminous mix of diameter 101.6 mm and thickness of 63.5 mm. The Marshall test conducted in the present study was carried out mainly in different stages. First stage is the preparation of Marshall samples. Stage 2 is the test on samples. Stage 3, preparation of modified bitumen samples. Stage 4, submergence. And Stage 5, retained strength index (RSI). Stage 6, Marshall test on submergence samples. And lastly, the result. My next topic is design of an evacuation building. Now let us proceed in answering the questions. Number 1. If you were to perform this research, what would you do differently? I think there is nothing new in constructing an evacuation building, but the researcher believes that there is so much to improve on existing emergency buildings. What are the main issues in this subject area? Philippines is one of the countries in Southeast Asia that is prone to typhoon, earthquake, volcanic eruption, and other calamities. And it is known that these natural disasters already cause thousands of people to die. That's why there should be a preparedness and a safe place to go in times of emergency. But we know that Philippines don't have enough facilities to shelter victims of disasters comfortably. Most of them, they stay at school buildings, gymnasium, and other public places where they don't have proper room to rest and to cope up with what has happened. Unfortunately, others died not in actual disaster, but in communicable diseases from other persons due to lack of space. Number 3, are there local literatures on this topic? Yes, there are local literatures on this topic. Number 4, what is the significance of the study? So it has become clear that building design needs to be broadened its focus on improving safety of the building occupants during extreme events, in addition to construction system design, material use, heating, ventilation and air conditioning, and layout and circulation design. Minimizing the impacts of emergencies is not limited to minimizing the damage to the physical structure of the buildings. Safety of the building occupants is the most vital point. Therefore, safe building design needs to be considered. Requirements and the cognitive abilities of occupants related to vision, sound, heat, and haptic senses because it is highly dependent on characteristics of the users and their interaction with the building. Even the occupants with special needs should be considered during building and evacuation design. Within this context, the management of building occupants sheltering and evacuation during emergency events are important. Number 6, why did you choose this topic? I chose this topic because I believe there is a need for a safe and comfortable shelter in the time of emergency. Number 7, do you have a title on your study? What do you mean by such title? I still don't have a title for my study. And and do you where is your site located and why do you consider this location? So the design can be located on any disaster prone areas in the Philippines. And lastly, what method or strategy you will use in this study? This study would like to design an evacuation building that could properly cater hundreds of families that will be affected by these disasters and other unexpected events. Furthermore, this building would like to give not just a shelter, but a comfortable place to stay that will meet their primary needs such clean water and electricity. Also, this evacuation center will include facilities such clinic, canteen, indoor recreational facility, and enough comfort rooms so that they can have a positive environment while recovering from such traumatic experiences. By this, I would use AutoCAD software in designing the building, and a prototype will be constructed for us to visualize the actual design of the building. Number two, from two existing research or studies you have, which of them are related to your topic? What methodological approach the research studies have developed to achieve its specific objective? Between the two related literatures, I choose designing buildings to cope with emergencies, finding from case studies and exceed preference. The research was designed to investigate the building design issues to improve the safety of occupants during emergency events. The related objectives are to number one, review requirements and procedures for crowd safety during emergencies and current relevant building design information, guidelines and standards. Number two, review people flow simulation tools and techniques to establish their suitability for use within the context of crowd modeling for emergency events. Number three, customize a suitable evacuation modeling software and conduct scenario-based case studies. Lastly, define guidelines that specify improve. So that is my second topic. And my third topic is about selection of foundation based on liquefaction severity of an area.